everybody likes Spider-Man. And what I mean by that is I like Spider-Man. So we can use Spider-Man to do a physics problem. Imagine that Spider-Man is swinging on a web, because he does that. And he starts at some angle from rest and swings down like that, and we want to find his final speed. And so I give some net values here. So he starts from rest up here. We want to find the velocity down there. The radius of the circular motion he's moving in, he's moving in a circle. I picked it as 8 meters. And that's a 40-degree angle. So how fast is he going at the bottom? Number one, we're going to do this as a work energy problem. Why? Why is this a work energy problem? Well, it's a work energy problem because of two things. Number one, we have a change in position. That's a good hint that there is a probability to use the work energy, an encouragement to use the work energy principle. Number two, we don't care about time. I'm not saying how long does it take to get to the bottom. I'm saying how fast is it going at the bottom. So those things right there say, hey, do work energy principle. Now, I'll show you at the end why it would be really difficult to not do that, but let's just use the work energy principle. So the work energy principle says the work is the change in energy. Very simple. But in order to do that, we have to pick a system. We have to pick what system are we going to have work done on and what is going to be our change in energy. That depends on our choice of a system. So let's pick a system consisting of Spider-Man and the Earth. Now, because Spider-Man and the Earth. Because we have both the Spider-Man and the Earth, there is an interaction between Spider-Man and the Earth, a gravitational interaction. But that's an internal energy because both of those things are in the system. That means that we will have gravitational potential energy. Now we're near the surface of the Earth, so we can say the gravitational potential energy is just mgy. Y is the vertical position with respect to something. It doesn't really matter, and I'll show you two different ways to do that. And then because we have Spider-Man, we have kinetic energy 1/2 mv squared. Now, there is an external interaction that we didn't include in our system. Because as Spider-Man moves down, say he's right here, there is the gravitational force pulling down. We know about that. But there's also, I'll put it in yellow, a tension from the web. Now you'll notice that do we need to do work done by the tension? Yeah, we do. So let's calculate the work done by the tension. It's going to be the tension times the displacement times the cosine of the angle between the tension and the displacement. Now look right here. No matter where he is on the swinging path, the displacement is this way, the tension is that way. They're always at a 90-degree angle. So this is T delta R cosine of 90. What's the cosine of 90? 0. So it doesn't matter that T changes. It does change. Because they're perpendicular, it does no work. So the work done is 0. So now we can write down our work energy equation. The work is 0. That's going to be the change in kinetic energy plus the change in potential energy. Okay, let's just go ahead and write out this, and then we can see that one of those things is 0. So this is going to be 0. It's going to be 1/2 mv2 squared, that's the velocity down here at point 2, minus 1/2 mv1 squared, that's the velocity up here, which is 0. There's your 0. Plus mgy2 minus mgy1. So you'll notice that we always have a change in potential energy, and that's why it doesn't matter where we pick our y value to be measured from, because it doesn't matter. It's still going to have the same change in y. So we need to pick where y is equal to 0 before we can do this, though. It doesn't matter, but we need to pick. Let's pick the obvious answer down here. Let's say y is 0 at the bottom. If that's the case, which one of these things are 0? We already said that's 0. Well, if y is 0 at the bottom, then that's y2, that's 0. So now we have a very nice equation. 0, 1/2 mv2 squared minus mgy1, where this is y1. Okay, so how do we find that y1? Here we're going to use the trick. It's not a trick. You got to think about things. Okay, so let's just draw some pictures here. I'll use orange. Oh, I dropped my red. Okay. So this is y equals 0. We know that this distance is r. This distance is also r. So that's r, and that's r. This right here, that's the distance that we want. Well, we can actually find this distance because right here I have a right triangle with an angle theta. So let's call this, let's just write this as r cosine theta, right? Because that's my hypotenuse, that's my adjacent side, so r cosine theta is the length of that. Well, that leaves this last piece right here. So these two pieces, this plus this, has to be r, so the piece left over, y1, is going to be r minus r cosine theta. I'll show you another way to do that in just a second. So if I put that in right here, I'm going to move that to the other side. I get mg y1 is r minus r cosine theta, and that's going to be equal to 1/2 mv2 squared. Notice that the mass cancels. We don't need that. Now we can solve for the velocity. v2 is going to be the square root of 2g r minus r cosine theta. If you want to factor out the r, you can. I do. So v2 is going to be the square root of 2g r times 1 minus cosine theta. Let's plug this in. Calculator. Okay, so I have drop 9.8 times. R was 8 meters, 8 times. I'm going to go ahead and do 1 enter, and then I'm going to take the cosine of 40. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Subtract that, multiply, square root, and I get a velocity of 6.1. Okay, so there you go. Now, let's just think for a moment. What would happen? I'm going to leave this right here, because that's my final answer whether I plug things in or not. So let's just suppose that I wanted to pick a different value for y equals 0. So let's say y equals 0 up here, because it's a little bit easier to calculate my y values. Well, I still have this. 0 is, what was it, the final kinetic energy, 1/2 mv2 squared, plus, there was minus 0, plus mgy2 minus mgy1. And I can erase that stuff, it's in the way. Now, I need to find y1 and y2. So up here, you notice that now y2 is down here. What's the value for y2? That's pretty easy. So now I can say y2 is going to be negative r. If that's y equals 0, that's negative r. And then I need to find this value of y. Well, that's just this part right here. So y1 is going to be equal to negative r cosine theta, right? So if I put that in my equation, I get 0, 1/2 mv2 squared minus mgy2, which is r. See, I factored out the r. And then I have plus mgr cosine theta. Now, I can factor out the minus mgr, and I get 1/2 mv2 squared plus I factor out the minus mgr, and then I'm going to get 1 minus cosine theta, right? Because I factor out a minus there. But now you see, I'm getting right back to where I got before. I'm going to get the exact same answer. So it doesn't matter where you pick your y is equal to 0. One way may seem better than the other, but it doesn't really matter. You could pick this as y equals 0. Okay, that'd be fine too. And then you'd have to find this value. It'd be the same thing, just negative, and you'd switch the order, so it's fine. Okay, one more thing. Why can't we just say calculate the forces on the object and use that to find the final speed? Well, the problem is the tension, right? Because as Spider-Man swings down the string, the tension is going to change direction. It's going to be going this way, and then it's going to be going that way. Even worse than that, we'll see later that the magnitude of the tension force changes too. So it changes both in magnitude and direction. It's a really difficult problem to do. It is possible, it is really difficult. Spider-Man physics, there you go. Talk to you later, bye.